Folks, Daniel here. We're out doing a little bit of spring foraging. Today we're mainly going to be collecting dock. I'm at one of the local wildlife management areas. It's late April, mid to late April, and yeah, we were out. We collected a bunch of dock 2 weeks ago when it was first coming up. A little more tender. Little younger leaves, but then last weekend I had to leave town for work, never got around to collecting more, so we're slightly later in the game here, but there's still a lot of dock to be collected, and I think I can collect a lot that's still young and tender. So I'm kind of starting this YouTube series because I'm always seeing photos and videos and books and whatnot of people foraging, and it's mainly from back east, either in like the Appalachian area or the Great Lakes or up in northern New England or something like that. All places which look phenomenal and are very lush, but frankly have way more water and are way more green than we are here. So I thought I would offer a little bit of a perspective as to what foraging looks like from a little more of the Rocky Mountain States area. I'm in northern Utah, just shy of the Idaho border, and yeah, this is late April. Everything's greened up a ton in the last 2 weeks. We had snow 3 days ago. It snowed on us. But today it's supposed to be in the low 60s or probably high 50s right now. But we've been kind of alternating that, like pouring rain, snow, and sunny, gorgeous high 50s, low 60s weather over the last couple of weeks, and things have really greened up. Over the next month or so, that's really about as green as you'll see the area that I'm in. And as you can see right now, I mean, it is a pretty, everything's greening up. Nice and gorgeous green. Everything's popping out of the ground. Dock is one of our earliest greens that pops up around here. So, like I said, I've been foraging it for a couple weeks already, but we decided to come back and collect a bunch more because my wife decided she really liked the dock greens once I cooked them. We've had them for several years just in salads and whatnot, but never cooked them and put them in anything. We cooked the batch we did a couple weeks ago, and my wife really liked them. So we're gonna collect a bunch more. Have it in mind for a few different recipes. We put some in a soup, like I said, a week and a half ago, and we also just did some cooked greens with butter and garlic, and both were delicious. So we're gonna collect a bunch, use what we can, and then probably blanch and freeze what's left of it. But let me show you a little bit more about the area we're in at the moment. So, as you can see, we're looking up towards the mountain right now. You get the white peaks in the background. There's a little bit of an old foundation here. We're out kind of in this grassy filled area. Really, it's a really weedy area. You get a lot of weeds coming through here. Got some rose bushes along the edge. You got a little creek over there where all the brush is. There is an old creek back over here where the brush and a couple old cottonwoods are. That creek's dried out, so it's just a bunch of rocky stuff underneath the brush back there. But then you get this field, which is covered in weedy species. It's probably hard to tell, but I mean, here, let me zoom in a little bit. Most of these stems out here are dock stems from last year, and that shows you kind of the abundance that we have around here. Actually, frankly, dock's not really that plentiful in most areas. This one just happens to be a super productive area for it. Now, dock, most of the time around here, it grows in kind of like the edges of fields, along the roadside, things like that. So I was actually really excited to find such an abundance of it on this WMA where we're a little ways away from things. A little bit cleaner and, well, frankly, it's going to be just a good place for me to forage for some of the weedy, more open area, softer ground species. the ones that aren't inhabiting the really rocky, dry slopes, which make it a pain in the butt to dig around here, because we have a ton of rock and gravel. So, this is a dock. Many of you have probably seen it. It grows with kind of this, it'll grow in the fall, this like reddish brown seed head. The best way to find it in the spring is just to look for these. And then look around the base of them. Hi, pup. That's the dog. The base of them, all the greens. These ones, like I said, have gotten kind of large because I've was out of town last week and didn't get around to doing them, and then we had snow, and so we were waiting for a decent day. But they're actually still pretty flexible, pretty tender. This is new growth within the last few weeks. And if you look out, I mean, I don't know if you can tell in the video, but we've got quite a bit of it in this field. So, yeah, there are multiple species of dock. Frankly, I'm not going to necessarily tell you how to tell them apart. A, because I'm not that great at it myself, and B, most of the time it doesn't really matter. You eat them all anyways. So I've eaten numerous species of dock, and like I said, Rumex genus. Look for the old reddish brown seed head. Pay attention to them in the fall. These leaves, the ones you're looking for most of the time are a little bit wavy, but I've also had some of the ones that are more lanceolate, longer, elongated, not as broad, and they don't have the wavy edges. So it depends on the type of dock you're going for, but it'll have this light, like yellowish, light greenish stem rib up the midrib up the leaf, and it kind of branches out from there. Pretty distinctive. Go look in your guides. Get some good guides and see some pictures, see how they tell you to identify it, but we have quite a bit of it. One vegetable I'm excited about after reading one of Sam Thayer's books where he talks about dock, and he mentions peeling and using the stems as a vegetable too, and I've never done that one. I've done greens for years, like I said, just in salads, but I'll probably come back later in the year and harvest some stems as well. But yeah, let's get to it. Should we start collecting?
Yep. Lots.
Lots and lots? Okay.
Dad, what are you doing?
I was just talking to the camera for a minute.
How do you set it down?
I set it down so that it can watch what we're doing. We'll take a couple clips of us collecting stuff and then move on with it.
Like, Dad, I got a breaking down tall tree branch.
You're breaking down all the stems?
Yep. Because you don't need him.
I'm gonna go walk with him because he'll demolish your camera.
Okay, that's fine. Hey, can you step a little bit that way and break those ones right there?
Wait.
So, really try and pick a lot of the younger ones if you can find them. These ones that are still rolled up, those are still pretty tender. Obviously, they're not as big at that point. You want to get them before they get super big and a little tougher. But that being said, they're really not that tough. It's kind of like, I don't know, texture-wise, kind of like a chard or something like that. A little bit slimy when they're super young like that, but that washes off. Also, you may notice that some of them have this reddish leaves, or at least the ones around here do. It's perfectly normal. They'll eat just fine. Are you going to help me collect some, Amos? Are you going to help me collect? Yep, we both have a bag. Did you put some in your bag? I'm avoiding taking the kind of buggy and older leaves, focusing mainly on these younger, smaller leaves. Though, like I said, even the bigger ones still seem fairly tender at the moment.
But you're up at the very bottom.
Yeah, we pick them at the very bottom, that's right. Down here.
Yep. And you hold the tab.
By the stem, yep. Pick them by the stem, put them in your bag.
Dad,
3-year-olds love foraging, in case you're curious. Foraging more than the actual eating of it, probably. That being said, he really loves walking around breaking down all these stems that are out in the field. So, it's just last year's stems, old dried stems. Doesn't harm the plant at all. And he's having fun.
Write them down to you.
You see, there still is quite a few of them. They're just barely, I mean, that one's not even unfurled yet. It's just this little spear sticking up. So you're gonna have good young growth for a while out of this patch. Oh, here's a good stem. Here's a good patch. You see what I'm talking about? How much there is here? The moral of the story is, even in these dry, we're in a we're considered high desert area. We get a couple weeks of green in the spring, and actually it's not that bad. I mean, it's like most of the Mountain West, fairly dry, but not terribly so, I guess. But maybe that's because I'm used to it. Very dry compared to most other foraging stuff you'll see. But in reality, it's all just about finding the abundance around you. And all that is greens. And I know, I mean, greens are easy to find. It's the other stuff that's more difficult, but yeah, focus on the abundance in your area instead of bemoaning that you don't have oaks or ramps or something like that, because we don't have things like that. Instead, learn to focus on and appreciate what you do have and what's abundant in your area. And like I said, in this case, it's not necessarily what's abundant in your area all over, but we have this one particular field which is loaded with this stuff. So, not only what is abundant in your area, but learn the different variations in the areas around you and where things like to grow and grow most abundantly, and utilize it. Yeah. I think I'll log off now and show you. See how these are still kind of curled up, these younger leaves. I mean, they're big, good-sized leaves, but they've just recently unfurled, and you can kind of see. Sorry, this isn't the best camera. You can kind of see this ridge coming down the length of the leaf. That's where it unfurled. It's still recent. It's a new leaf, still young, still very tender. Yeah, I'll show you once we're done. All right, there, we just finished up. Let's go ahead and show you what we got. So we got Doc, huh? We got 3 bags worth. My wife already took a bag back that was a little fuller than this one. This one's not as full, but Amos here has decided that we want to go on a walk instead. So we're going to be done foraging for a bit. Want to say hi? Nope, not going to say hi. He said he wanted to say hi to the camera. But yeah, a good tip right here. Here's an example. Well, I don't know that I showed that very well, but the younger leaves that are a little more tender, a little more, a little better eating, they are a little crisper when you snap the stem off. The older ones start to feel a little leathery, so look for that crisp kind kind of that crisp texture. They should just like kind of snap off when you. So essentially, that's what I'm doing. Is I'm grabbing a stem and going like this, and breaking them off, the leaves off. So look for a fairly crisp texture, and you'll get some younger, better tasting leaves. But yeah, like I said, there's a bunch of it out here in this particular location. So Amos and I have been out collecting a lot, huh?
Yep.
Now we've got to eat it. Are we done?
Bye.